Hello everyone. So we are going to start the new topic, that is the size separation. So this topic has been divided into parts. So let's start the part 1. So in this part 1 we are going to deal with the different aspect of size separation. So this size separation actually it is considered as a unit process in the pharmaceutical engineering. So after the reduction of the size of a particular substance, the particular substance is subjected for size separation. Now this size separation of the powder, it will be taken place, or it can be done with the help of different instrument in the pharmaceutical engineering processes. So let's start the size separation. You see the importance of size separation. Basically, first of all, size separation is necessary to formulate a uniform dosage form, because if the size is properly separated, then you can get uniform particle size, right? Moreover, to prepare granules of required size, suppose you need the granules of suppose 30 mm or 50 mm, then you can have a particular size separator which will give you granules of same size only. Then you have, it is used in the quality control tool for analysis of different form of solid dosage form or granules. Moreover, to test the efficiency of the size reduction equipment, which you can generally apply this size separation method. Moreover, to separate undesirable particles in case of vegetable drug or herbal drug formulation. Moreover, to optimize the process of condition, that is the screening feed rate. What is the feed rate of the powder in the tablet punching machine? That will be controlled by the size of the powder, which will be fed in the tablet punching machine, and this size of the powder, it will be determined by the process of the size separation. So you see the size separation, basically large pieces of the material are usually estimated visually. We can easily estimate the large piece of material. Suppose one it is having a triangular shape, another one it is having a square shape, another one it is having a circular shape. That's why it is very easy to divide or to separate a large particular, means large size material, but it is always tough to separate or to estimate the powders, because the powders, they are very fine granules. You cannot separate it out with the help of the hand, right? So basically this size separation, it is a unit operation. It is a unit operation process which actually involves the separation of the mixture of various size of particle into two or more portion by means of screening the surface. How you are going to screen it? You are going to screen it with the help of a sieve. With the help of a sieve, we are going to screen the different types or different size of the particle into different grades, right? So this is also known as sieving. This size separation process, it is also known as sieving or sifting or classifying, or sometimes it is also known as screening. So standards of powder. So as per the Indian Pharmacopoeia, this is the holy book of pharmacy, right? As per the Indian Pharmacopoeia, the size separation, it is simply defined as the degree of coarseness or fineness of a powder. I repeat, the degree of coarseness, how coarse it is, or fineness of the powder. It is differentiated and it is expressed by the size of the mesh of the sieve. Now what is the mesh? I am coming in the upcoming slide, through which the powder is able to pass. Clear? So official standards for powder. So basically there are 5 standards. First of all, the first standard, it is known as the coarse powder. Which are coarse powder? Suppose you have suppose 5 gram of powder. Now these 5 gram of powder, if it is able to pass through a sieve which have a mass aperture. Mass aperture means the size of the sieve, the aperture of the sieve through which the powder will pass through, right? So coarse powder, they are the powders which can pass through a sieve of number 10. Moreover, not more than 40% of this 5 gram of powder which we have used for separation, not more than 40% of the powder can pass through sieve number 44. Those are known as coarse powder. Suppose you have again taken 5 gram of powder. Now in those 5 gram of powder, what is moderately coarse powder? In moderately coarse powder, all the powder will pass or can pass through sieve number 22, as it has a smaller size, right? Sieve number 22, but not more than 40% of this 5 gram of powder can pass to sieve number 60. See, once the number of the sieve it is increasing, the size of the aperture it is decreasing. Means if you go on increasing the number of the sieve, you are going to get fine powders, right? The next type of powder, it is the moderately fine powder. Here all the powders can pass through sieve number 44, but not more than 40% can pass through sieve number 85. Then you have the fine powder. The fine powder, here all the particles can pass through sieve number 85, not more than 40%. Here everyone need to pass through sieve number 85, then only it is known as fine powder. Moreover, we have very fine powder category, where all the particles can pass through sieve number 120. It is very fine. The talc which you use to apply on your face, the talc, they are generally fine powder, or sometimes they are generally ultra fine powder, which are used for topical application, right? So the IP actually it specifies the 5 grades of powders. So I repeat, this grade, coarse grade, we have already studied. The coarse grade has to pass through the sieve number 10. Moderately coarse grade, they have to pass through sieve number 22. Moderately fine, they have to pass through sieve number 44. Fine, they have to pass through sieve number 85. Very fine, they have to pass through sieve number 120. This grade you need to remember, or you need to memorize. Moreover, you see, again the IP has one more type of size differentiation. Here it will also include the 40%, the remaining 40%. So for coarse powder, we have already stated that it will pass through the sieve number 10, right? And 40% of the coarse powder can pass through, or will be able to pass through sieve number 44. Similarly, moderately coarse powder, they all will pass through sieve number 22, and 40% of the moderately coarse powder can pass through sieve number 60. Similarly, moderately fine, 44 and 85. Now, how the powders they are numbered? So, as per the codex, or as per the coding, if suppose for coarse powder it is always quoted as 10 by 44. The coarse powder it is always quoted as 10 by 44. 10 means the numerator, it means the sieve number through which all the particles will pass. The denominator 44, it will represent the sieve number through which only 40% of the powder will pass, right? So it is expressed in such way. Now the Indian Pharmacopoeia, it has makes 2 statements regarding the official grade of the powder. So the first statement is that when a powder is described by a number, suppose powder number 10, right, means all the particle must pass through the specific sieve, that is the sieve number 10. But in case of vegetable drug, it is not actually considered as same. When a vegetable drug is being grounded, means it is grinded and sifted, none must be rejected. There is reason, because you see, the reason is that simply, you see here I have written clearly that the reason for this is that the latter one, that is the chemical substance, here if we want to make the powder of a chemical substance, what you will do? You will take certain quantity of the chemical substance, right? You will grind it, you will allow the powder to pass through the sieve, and excess of the powder will be discarded, right? Will be discarded. But moreover, a term is there, that is the tailing. Now what is tailing? Suppose we have crushed a 5 gram of drug or 10 gram of piece of drug into powder, right? Now we have sieved this powder through sieve number 10, right? So from this 5 gram, suppose 1 gram has come down, remaining 4 gram is there in the sieve. This 4 gram, it is known as the tailing, which has not able to pass the sieve, right? Which is not able to pass the sieve. So this cannot be considered in herbal drugs or vegetable drug, because there is reason. Because you see, the vegetable drugs, they consist of varieties in the tissue of different degrees of hardness. Some tissue of the vegetable drugs are soft, which get easily grinded, and some tissues are hard, which takes times to get grinded, right? So in such cases, you need to see the difference. You see, in many cases, the constituent of the drug in the vegetable drug, they are also not uniformly distributed. For example, here if we take for example digitalis, this is a herbal drug. Digitalis have glycoside, cardiac glycoside, and it is found that the most of the cardiac glycoside, they are found in the midrib and veins, of the digitalis leaf, right? So in such cases, if tailing is discarded, tailing means the amount of the powder of the leaf which has remained in the sieve, if we are going to discard the tailing part, then what will happen? The amount of the powder you are getting below the sieve, it may not have the active constituent. So in such cases, in vegetable drugs, you cannot apply the sieving process as equally as to that of the chemical drug. Now in addition to this grades of the powder specified by the British Pharmacopoeia, there is one more grade is there, which is coded in the British Pharmaceutical Codex, which is known as the ultra fine powder. So what is ultra fine powder? Simply, it requires the maximum dimension, that is here in ultra fine powder 90% of the particle must not be greater than 5 micrometer. Ultra fine powder, as per the British Pharmaceutical Codex, Pharmaceutical Codex, 90% of the powder, it should not be greater than 5 micrometer, and none must be greater than 50 micrometer. Now what is 50 micrometer here? See, 90% should not be greater than 5 micrometer. Remaining 10% of the powder, they should not be also greater than 50 micrometer. Then only it will be known as a ultra fine powder, as by coded by British Pharmaceutical Codex. So determination of the particle size for this grade, it is carried out by microscopic method, which we are going to discuss in our upcoming slides. Now sieve. So what is a sieve? So this is a sieve. I am telling you, this is a sieve, right? So here you are having the fine lines where you will have aperture through which the powder will pass through, right? So sieves for pharmacopoeial testing are constructed generally with wire cloth, with square meshes. They have square meshes, I will show you, and they are woven from the wires of the brass, sometimes bronze, even you can use stainless steel or any other suitable material. The wires should be uniform. The wire which you are going to use for construction of the sieve, they should be uniform circular cross section, and they should not be coated or plated. If it is coated or plated, then you may not get the uniform size. Now there should not be any reaction between the material of the sieve and the substance which is being sifted on the sieve. This material of the sieve, it should be inert. It should be inert in nature, right? So let's discuss something about the sieve. So sieve for test purposes are subjected or are a subject of British standard, because the sieve size, they are generally selected as per the British Pharmaceutical, or you can say British Pharmaceutical Codex, right? So most of the sieves, they are of the wire mesh type. Now what is wire mesh type? This is the wire mesh. These are the wire. This is the mesh. This is the mesh, right? You see, these are woven like anything. So these are the mesh through where you can easily pass the powder, right? So the number of the sieve, as I have already discussed, sieve number 10, sieve number 22. So the number of the sieve, it indicates the number of the meshes included in 1 inch. Suppose here in 1 inch, from here to here in 1 inch, how many meshes are there? So this will give, suppose here if there are 10 meshes, then this will be a sieve number, it will have a sieve number of 10. So number of meshes per inch will determine the sieve number, right? So it should be noted here that the number of the meshes that is specified and not the number of the wires. How? The number of the wire, it is not associated with the mesh size. Let me make this very clear. See, a number 10 sieve, suppose this is a 10 number sieve, it will have 10 meshes per inch as specified, number of meshes per inch, right, in each direction. But it will be realized that if there were 10 wires, then there will be only 9 meshes. So if we need to have 10 meshes, then we need to have 11 wires. So you don't count the wire number. The wire number, it don't determine the mesh or sieve number directly. Rather than the mesh, it determines the number of mesh per inch. It will determine the sieve number. So the simplest statement of the number of meshes per unit length is not sufficient. However, as the size of the particle that will pass the sieve will depend on other factor also, principally the diameter of the wire. The diameter of the wire, it will also decide the diameter of the wire. Suppose the diameter here, the diameter of the wire will decide the size of the particle that can pass through this aperture or that can pass through this mesh. Clear? So now standard for sieves according to the British Pharmacopoeia. So it is required that the wire mesh sieves, they shall be made up from the wire of uniform, right, number 1, circular cross section, and for each sieve the following the particulars are stated. Now there are some terms which we are going to discuss. Number of sieve. Now what is the sieve number? This is a sieve, right? Now what is the sieve number? We have already stated that the number of mesh, these are the mesh, these holes are mesh, the number of mesh per inch in each direction parallel to the wire. This is the number of sieve, right? Next, nominal size of the aperture or hole. What is the nominal size of the hole? This hole, suppose. So the distance between the wires, size of the hole or aperture, it is the distance between the wire. Suppose this from this wire to this wire, the distance between the wire, so that it represents the length of the side of the square aperture. This is, suppose, the distance between the wire, so that it represents the length of the side of the square aperture. It will determine the length of the size of the square aperture, right? Nextly, we have nominal diameter of the wire. Nominal diameter of the wire. You see, the dimension and the number of the meshes form the basic standard of the sieve. So the wire diameter, these are the wires, right? The wire diameter has been selected to give a suitable aperture size. The diameter of the wire are selected to give a suitable aperture size, but also to have sufficient strength. This wire should have, or the wire should be not so much thin. It should have sufficient strength to avoid the distortion or breakage during the process of screening, right? Now the next thing is the approximate screening area. It is 40%, 35 to 40%. So the standard express the area of meshes as a percentage of the total area of the sieve. Suppose the total area of the sieve is, suppose 100 square centimeter, right? Total area. Then approximate screening area, it is just 35 to 40% of this 100 square meter square area or whatever it is, right? So it is governed by the size of the wire used for a particular sieve number, and it is kept within the range of the screening area. It is for a sieve, the screening area for a sieve, it is always kept in the range of 35 to 40%, right? Not the whole sieve, it is associated with the sieving process. Only 35 to 40% area of the sieve is used for the screening, and this area of the sieve, it is known as approximate screening area, right? So this gives a suitable strength to the sieve, this area, but it leaves adequate area of the meshes unused, right? Since these are obviously useful area of the sieve. Thus in a sieve, 35 to 40% area are actually used. Moreover, aperture tolerance average, what is that? So this is the aperture tolerance average. So as per this aperture tolerance average, there may be some variation between this aperture, right? And this variation is unavoidable. They are not always equal in size. Might be some sort of variation may be there, and this variation, it is expressed in the terms of aperture tolerance average. Suppose this is having a area of 100 meters square, this is having a area of 98 meters square. So difference is variation is 2 meters square, right? So this can be expressed as a aperture tolerance average, the variation in the area of the mesh, right? The term tolerance, it is used in the engineering practice, pharmaceutical engineering practice, to mean the limits within which a particular quantity or dimension can be allowed to vary. Suppose we have sieved a particular powder, we have got some result. Now this can be easily associated or can be easily correlated with the aperture tolerance average. Aperture tolerance average, suppose the aperture tolerance average is 2%, means 2% of the powder may have different size, which may be due to difference in the size of the aperture, right? So finer wires which are likely to be subjected for a greater proportional variation in the diameter than pores. So if we are using a sieve which is made up of finer wires, then this type of sieve may have greater aperture tolerance as compared to that of the coarser or means diameter or bigger diameter sieve. The fine mesh, it cannot be woven with the same accuracy as that of the coarse mesh. That's why variation occurs in the fine mesh. Hence the aperture tolerance is smaller for sieves. You see, hence aperture tolerance, it is smaller for sieve of 5 or 10, because they are the sieve which are having the number of 5 or 10, they are having a bigger size or coarse size wire, right? Whereas 300 mesh size, or you can say sieve number 125, it will have finer wires. So there the variation, or you can say aperture tolerance average, is more, right? Now perforated plate sieve, what is this? So these are generally similar to that of the square mesh sieve, but here the hole size, earlier the hole size were square, but here the hole size were circular. So sieve may be also made by drilling holes on the metal plate, right? Here we can make this sieve by making the drills of hole in the metal plate, so that this type of sieve will have circular aperture as compared to that of the square aperture which were used in the previous slide. So you can see here, this is the sieve. So in general, the sieves are generally used in the larger size, and they can be made with the greater accuracy than the wire size, because here the sizes they are equal. Here the sizes they are equal because it is drilled. Their sizes they are equal. It is not woven. It is drilled, and they are less susceptible for distortion in any direction. But one more thing you have to note down, that the holes, these holes are generally placed with the centers of a equal distance or equidistance equilateral triangle. These holes are placed in the centers of the equilateral triangle. Suppose this is a equilateral triangle. If we consider this is the equilateral triangle, this is a equilateral triangle, suppose equal size, right? Or this is a equilateral triangle, this is a equilateral triangle, then the holes they will be placed in the middle. So this is the perforated sieve plate. So now the similar standards are here also. It is laid down with the appropriate equivalent specification for this plate, but here we have to consider the thickness. Here we have to consider the thickness and the nominal width of the bridge, the thickness of the plate and the width of the bridge. Here we have to consider this, because here we are not making these holes or aperture with the help of the wires. Clear? Now you see what are the things which are used for constructing the sieve. So basically we have metals. So first and foremost metal, it is the iron wire. Iron wire, it is advantage of iron wire, it is cheap, and is disadvantage for making the sieve, it is that the iron wire, they generally suffer from rusting and iron contamination sometimes may happen. Next we have the coated iron. The coating with the galvanizing means aluminum coating or mercury coating, right? Basically aluminum, or tinning, coating with the tin. Advantage is that it increases the protection against the corrosion. Moreover, it increases the strength. And the disadvantage of this coated iron is that the coating after the manufacture, it led to some sort of variation in the mesh size. After the coating, the mesh size, the variation, it takes place, because some mesh will take more coating, some mesh will take less coating. Then we have the copper. The advantage of copper for making the sieve is that it avoids the risk of iron contamination. This advantage is that it is a soft metal, so these meshes, they can be distorted very easily, the copper meshes. Then we have copper alloys like brass, phosphor, bronze. Advantage of the copper alloy is that it resembles the copper in possessing good resistance to corrosion, right? As copper, it don't get easily corroded, and their strength is greater, so that less risk of mesh distortion is there. Then we have the stainless steel. The advantage of stainless steel is that it is having a good resistance to corrosion. It have a adequate strength, and the thing is that it is more suitable for pharmaceutical purposes. But disadvantage is that it is very expensive. The stainless steel sieve, they are very much expensive in nature. Apart from this, there are some non-metals also. This is a sieve which is made up of non-metal. So you see here, it is used when all risk of metallic contamination can be avoided. Suppose the drug have a greater chance of interacting with the metals. In such cases, you can use a non-metallic sieve. So use for sieves with the fine meshes. These non-metal fibers, they are stronger. These fibers, they are stronger than the metal wire of similar thickness. So they are having a greater strength. So materials of natural origin like hair, silk, or sometimes synthetic fibers like nylon, terylene, they are mostly used for construction of the non-metallic sieve. This is an example of non-metallic sieve. This is a type of similar sieve which we use in our household for straining the tea, right? So advantage of synthetic fibers is that they have more strength and resistance to the corrosion. Moreover, they can be extruded in all diameters, so it enables wide variety of sieves can be made by using the non-metal means fiber like nylon and terylene. So that's all. Thank you everyone for your patience hearing. If you like the video, just press the like icon. You can share this video with your classmates, and for further notification from this channel, you can subscribe my channel. Thank you once again.